and welcome to Crochet Moments. I'm Helen.
Emily!
And this is Emily, my youngest daughter. And this is Crochet Moments, episode 65. And did you want to show off your thing, or are you just going?
I got a pack and written the name of my panda on it.
You want to show them inside?
I made a little home for my panda.
So we recently went to
A bird fair.
Global Bird Fair.
Yes, Global Bird Fair, and the girls adopted animals with the World Wildlife
At the WWF, and our package did the ride today, and
Yes.
Katherine got a turtle
Yes.
called Crush, and my panda it's called Ling.
Right, you're off to bed now.
Yep. Good night.
Good night, sweetheart. Oh dear, yes, it's been a whole month since I've filmed a podcast, which I think might have to be the way I go, because I've just because I film these on a Friday evening, I'm usually completely wiped by the time I get home just lately from work. So my new job at the bank has started. So I've had a lot of really intense training going on, and started to see live appointments with customers, of opening accounts for them. So it's been very intense. So a lot of the time I've come home from work and I've just sort of collapsed on the sofa in a heap, and not really wanted to do anything beyond watch TV and do a little bit of knitting or a little bit of crafting. So I do apologise for my absence. I also would like to apologise that I haven't really properly introduced my make-along. I just this afternoon set up the hashtag for Instagram, which is here. There it is. So that's the picture I've posted to start my crochet along, and this is basically if you'll be able to see those, I will try and remember to put it along the link, but my hashtag Crochet Moments Bell, I have no idea if you can read that. Crochet Moments Bell 2023, and I have yet to order the prize. The prize is going to be a bag of blanket balls from Attic Spin Dye. So I have yet to order those. Summer holidays is kicking in, and the costs for everything is up there. So I didn't even remember before my money was gone to order the latest subscription, Beatrix Potter subscription from Attic Spin Dye. So I'm going to be one short, unless Andy has any spare ones. In which case I might email him and see and ask him if he could set me up a separate invoice when I get paid next week. It's been a nightmare. But yeah, so in between being absolutely exhausted at work with all my training, it's also been quite stressful at work. There's been a lot going on, but I've completed my Brownie Leader training. So that's all been signed off. So at some point in the next few months, I should receive my Brownie Leaders badge, which I can't wait. But they've also, the very lovely lady that signed off all my training documents, also we sat and had a discussion, and she went over, because I do the first three levels of Girl Guiding. So I do the rainbows, which is aged 5 to 7. I do the brownies, which are 7 to 10, and then I do girl guides, which is 10 to 14. And so my main leadership training has been focused on the brownies, but she's also signed me off to be a leader for the rainbows and the girl guides as well. So that means basically that if I can lead those groups independently of needing another superior leader in place. So that's all good. There's been a little bit of a hiccup with my first aid training. They haven't located the record of one of the modules that I attended, so they're currently looking for that before they can finalise all of my but it's there. So that's been taking up some of my time. What else has been taking up my time? My children. They've been there's been a lot going on. So Katherine is she's in high school at the moment. This has been the first week of the summer holidays, but she just finished year 7, so we've had things like parents' evenings to go to, final assessments to help her revise for, and she's also finally starting to see appointments come through for her autism assessments, which is great. because this has been something that's been in the works for a couple of years now, since a couple of her teachers at primary school picked it up for us. So, oh gosh, that's been a nightmare. But yeah, so everything's been getting in the way. So let's start off with talking blanket along. I just want to go into some of the details because I keep meaning to sit down and film a separate video and never getting the time to do it. So I'm going to apologise to Simon in advance and go make yourselves a cup of tea, get yourselves settled with a project in your hands. I could be talking for a little while. I'll try not to, but I'll be as succinct as I can. There you go, I can't even say that. I haven't even had a gin yet. Friday night is gin night. Anyway, blanket along. So the last few years I have run a make along called a blanket along because I like making blankets. So this is the D'Histoire Naturelle blanket. It was the sheepy's cowl. This was a Stylecraft cowl. The Faith cow, everything's all spread out. Ooh, I don't know what happened there. Don't move around, Helen. That's the thing there. I think I have to keep my face in the square that's on the screen. Anyway, I'm also sat on the Rosetta cowl. I've got a few blankets on the go, one of which I will be showing today. Yeah, so it's just been about making blankets. You can start a new blanket. You can use a whip if you've had a long-standing whip just sitting in the corner, and you just use it as an excuse to pick it up. All you need to do to enter into the make-along to win a bag of blanket balls is to put a picture on Instagram and tag the hashtag Crochet Moments BAL 2023. So I think because I've been so tardy getting everything set up, I might extend it to the end of September. Yes, let's extend. So normally I have it finishing at the end of August, but as I have been completely disorganised this year, I'm not the most organised of people in the first place, but this year has been even worse. So I will extend it to the end of September. So you have until the end of September to post all of your whip pics into the hashtag. If you've already started things, I know one of my subscribers had already bought all the things to start, and she's probably been anxiously waiting for my hashtag to go up so she can start posting her pictures. So Tina, I am sorry. Yeah, so hopefully you've already started and you've made a good progress on that. So I'm looking forward to seeing all those progress pictures. If you don't want to post on Instagram, oh, one thing I have to say, if you are using the hashtag, you need to make sure your profile is public, because otherwise I won't see them on the hashtag. But if you don't use Instagram or you don't want your profile to be made public, by all means email me. My email address is in the description box below all of my videos. Simon's really good at making sure all my contact information is linked. So that's that. But yeah, I'm really excited to hear about what you're making, so please feel free to comment below this video and just tell me what you're making. Obviously I'm not looking necessarily for finished objects. If you don't get it finished, that doesn't matter. Let's see some progress. Let's make some progress, because that's what I'm about. Let's use this as a way to encourage ourselves to get going. Because sometimes we need that little G up, don't we? So yeah, so that's that. So what have I been working on? Well, I've got 5 finished objects. They're all small things, so nothing big is off the needles or away from the hook. Oh no, one of them's not too small. Let's start with my biggest item. Oh, excuse me, it's this upside down. This is a crocheted cardigan that I have made for Emily, and it is a pattern from the Harry Potter crochet wizardry. Here it is, so pretty, and the, oh gosh, bits on it. This has been kicked around the living room floor today. Emily has a habit of just not looking where she's going, and let's do that up properly. There you go. So it's not sitting terribly well, but it does, once it's on, it does sit quite nicely. This is a very, very simple cardigan, and it's worked all in one piece, and then you work the waistband to create the sleeves. So there's sort of the side view there, so the arm would go in like that. I really like this. I need to go yarn shopping with Katherine, because she can choose the colour for hers, because she doesn't like any of the DK cotton that I have in my stash, and I think because it's a summery cardigan, cotton is probably best to use. So this was done using King Cole Cotton Soft, and it is in the colour Lilac. Now, I have used this yarn before for a few things. I love this yarn. And how many balls did I use? I can't remember now. Oh, Emily, you've got dirt on it already. Oh. Was it 2? I think I used 200 grams for this. This is the smallest size in the book, and it's slightly too big for Emily. So Emily is 7, but she's a titchy 7. So I think this will probably go for next summer as well, really. But I really enjoyed doing this. It was very, it worked up very quickly. I don't think I spent much more than about 5 or 6 days working on it in total. Excuse me. I had a homemade curry for my dinner, and I had a little bit of spice stuck in my cheek. Okay, so that's that. Very lovely finished object. And the next finished object I will show you is this little guy here. There he is. He's my knitted toy. This was done from a kit, and the packaging with the leftovers is upstairs in my room, so I can't remember what company the kit was, but I will find out and try and remember to link it down below. I will try and link any patterns that I use down below. I know the last couple of videos I don't think I've done it because my weekends have tended to get a little bit hectic and I've not really had a chance to do anything. But here he is. He's not too bad. I did have to stitch his head down a little bit because I think I didn't stitch enough of his head when I attached it, so his head was sort of looking up like that rather than looking down, so I have just tacked it down a little bit there to hold his head down. I quite enjoyed doing this. I've mastered the mattress stitch. You cannot see the seam on his body there at all. Well, you might just about be able to spot that lump there, and where the decreases started I wasn't quite as neat there, but I'm very impressed with my mattress stitch, if I do say so myself. I think I've mastered that. But yes, I've really enjoyed working on him. It's definitely made me want to work on more knitted toys, but I need to get more of my knitted projects off the needles and stop starting new things because my next lot of finished objects weren't even on the radar last time. So that's that. So let's go on to my next finished objects, which will lead into some whips, and I'll show you. It's not really incoming because it didn't cost me anything, but I'll show you an app that I've downloaded. Actually, let's talk about the app first rather than going straight into the finished objects. So I have downloaded the Tin Can Knits app. It's a free to download app and it is really good. So it's got 9 free patterns included in the app. So you've got the barley hat, the flax. So obviously those are 2 patterns very, very familiar to people who know Tin Can Knits. Some mittens, a cardigan, some socks, a scarf, a cowl, a blanket and a shawl. And each one tells you sort of how many sizes there are and what yarn weights they're graded for. So I have already finished 2 barley hats. And I'll show you those later. But the best thing with this app is, let's just, for example, go to the barley hat. So you go to the details, then it will ask you what weight yarn that you're using. I use sock weight yarn for mine, and then it takes you to the sizes. So here you have all the sizes. So it goes from newborn to an adult large. So for example, let's go for the newborn, and it will tell you what measurements you need to take to make sure that that size will fit. And then you go into materials and it will tell you what size needles to have, what your gauge should be, and any other extra bits and pieces you might need. And then you hit in project. Now this is where the magic happens. So you put in your project info, so you know the yarn you're using, the needles you're using to get the gauge. I didn't do gauge swatches because I'm rubbish at doing them, and I just get too impatient. I want to start my project, which is just, that's just me. And so it will start here. And so it takes you through the steps. Key tutorial if you needed to know anything, gives you the information to share, and then it will sort of tell you how many stitches to cast on. And every time you press this button, it will take you to the next part of the pattern that you're on, and it will just keep going, and it even will help tell you what row you're on, so you can keep a track. So as long as you remember to press that down button every time you finish a row or a round, whatever you're working on, it will move to the next one. So, and it will stay there. So when you next go into the app, it will say, oh right, okay, you're knitting on your barley hat again today. Here's where you were when you left off. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. I love it. I intend on having a go at making everything of those free patterns in the app at some point. A good way to get rid of stash. And talking about using stash, let's go. Ooh, get some of these out. Right, okay, so I decided to make the whole family a hat and a cowl. So the cowl isn't on the app. I'm just using the free pattern for the 100 stitch cowl, I think it's called. Although I'm not following it completely, because that says to work until you have a certain amount of yarn left. And that would have made a ridiculously long cowl, tall cowl for Emily's little neck. So I've sort of measured Emily and said, right, okay, that plus, I think I did an extra 10 centimetres or something. So let's start with Emily's, because Emily has a finished hat and a finished cowl. So here is the barley hat. It's a little bit messy because I misread the size needles I needed for when I went into DPNs at the top, so that's really messy, but I'm still happy with it. Emily likes it. So there's the stockingette side, that's the reverse stockingette. Oh no, garter, because I think you purl every other row to get sort of that. And I haven't sewn the ends in on her cowl yet, but this is her cowl that I've made. So that's that. And the yarn, oh Emily, she's run off with my blooming, she keeps running off with my yarn bands. So the yarn is really easy to remember anyway. This is Attic Spin Die, and this is the chapter 1 of the Beatrix Potter subscription that I've been getting, and it's Peter Rabbit. It's fairly, I would have said that was fairly obvious. It's a bit shadowy, so I'm just trying to get it so you can see the colour really nicely. Really love how this has worked up. So obviously with this being 100 stitches, it's worked up slightly different to how it has in the hat. So in the hat we've got almost stripes going on, and it's a lot more random, but obviously it's the same colourway. It's the same skein of yarn, and I have this much left. So I think I've got about 30 grams left. Maybe I haven't weighed it, but it doesn't feel like a lot, but it also doesn't feel like a teeny tiny bit either. So there's 2 finished objects. So the next one that I finished was Catherine's. So Katherine picked out a Woolly Mama Yarns yarn, and I love how that's worked up. That's amazing. So I did an adult small for her, which I think will probably do for me. There we are. So that's the adult small on me. So I think this is the size I'm going to knit for myself. It's, I really like it. I quite like this colour, but I'll show you the colour I've picked for mine. So this, yes, is, again, it's just a barley hat, exactly the same as Emily's, but I used the right size DPNs for this one, so it's obviously looking a lot neater at the top. And I would say about a third or a quarter, depending on how tall I decide to make it, of the way on. Oh gosh, what's going on here? Oh, lots of weirdness going on there. So there's the cowl. So the cowl seems to be picking up. The black speckles that are in this seem to be clumping together a lot more in the cowl than in the hat. I'm not quite sure why that is. I'm a little bit disappointed that this one's colour's looking more random than on the hat, because the hat kind of spirals round in the colour, whereas this is very random. But still, I really like it. But yeah, so I can't, again, Emily's gone off with the label for this one. So here it is in the skein anyway. Well, the cake, it's not a skein anymore, is it? So I'm basically just going to keep going, and I'll just keep holding it up to Catherine's neck. So I want it to be long enough so that it will be bunched up a little bit underneath the chin. So it's just go there. Not quite sure how long to make mine, because mine obviously needs to keep my neck warm while I'm on my bike in the winter. This is unwinding for some reason. So I have my colour in here. Simon, I laid out all my colours on my bed. All of my hand-dyed yarn out. Laid it out and said to him, you've got 20 minutes until I put all this away to choose a colour for me to make you a hat and a cowl with. He never did it. So if he doesn't do it, he's not going to get a hat and a cowl for the winter. But here is the colour I chose for myself. There's bits all over it. So this is Attic Spin Dye, of course, and this was from the Bird of the Month subscription, and it's Magpie. I mean, that couldn't get more obviously Magpie, could it? I love this colour so much. I've been dying to find use for this for ages, and now I have. So as soon as I finished Catherine's cowl, I'll be starting my barley hat. And it's really good TV knitting. I really, well, the cowl, I'm not even bothering with a beginning of the round marker on the cowl, just because it doesn't really need it, does it? It's just round and round and round and round until it's long enough, and then bind off. So this is living in my Emma Ball bag, which I've stretched out again. I love this bag. This is pretty cool. I bought this from, I think it was Bakewell the year before last. I think I bought this in Bakewell 2021. And I really like this. I might get another bag. I will be going to Bakewell again this year. But I think that's going to be my yarn show to visit. It's quite local to me. It's lovely area. I love Bakewell. We go there on regularly for walks, so it's a lovely little town to wander around as well after we've been around the yarn show. Not that there's much time left because I go on the Sunday, so shop's usually closing by the time we're done. So that's all my finished objects. which is, I'm quite impressed. So that brings my finished object count for 2023 to 18. So last year I had 26 finished objects. So if I can keep this up, I'm going to beat my finished object count for last year. That will be awesome. Oh, excuse me. So also along the Tin Can Knits vibe, when I signed up for the app, I signed up for the newsletter, and yesterday I got an email saying that they were doing a free by email online learn lace knitting course, or improve your lace knitting, which is great because I have quite a few projects. I've actually got a kit that's been sat up there now for almost 2 years that I've been scared to pick up because it's lace knitting, and I just thought I'm gonna give it a go. Let's see if I can do something from this and pick something up, then it might help me become more brave when it comes to knitting. I did say I wanted to try colour work this year, and I do have a kit. I have kitted up the yarn for the West Yorkshire Spinners Christmas blanket, and I have yet to cast that on. Like I said, I need to get some things off my needles, and then I keep picking new things up. So part 1 was just the basics of knitting. Now this is not blocked, and I'm not sure how to go about blocking it properly because it's acrylic yarn. I just grabbed some acrylic DK from my stash. So lesson 1 was yesterday. I'm sure if you I don't know if you can just go to the website to sign up for it, and you'll get that first episode email in, and it's basically you'll be emailed with a link to click on to go through to the lesson with a password that you put in. It took me ages because I thought it was asking for my password that I set up for my app. No, it's not. It was an actual password in the email. It took me about 5 minutes to work that one out. But here is my swatch, my first swatch. So this is some leftover yarn I had from a cardigan I made Emily actually. So this is just obviously the left and right leaning decreases. So the next email with the next swatch will come through, I think, Saturday or Sunday. It said in about 2 days, so Saturday or Sunday I should see part 2 come through. It's 3 parts, so each one will have a swatch. So I'm just using my leftover yarns and just having a go. Let's just throw myself in, have a go, and see if I can improve my lace knitting, and hopefully build up that courage to start one of the lacier shawl patterns that I have upstairs, or that I bought as kits. I've got 2 that I can think of off the top of my head, which are lace patterns. One is beaded lace as well. Yeah. Whoop. I'll come back to that. Let's carry on with knitting before I move on to my crochet. Ooh, right, my out and about knitting. So we went to London on Monday. I didn't have the energy to knit on the way back. I was exhausted. But I did do, the coach trip to London is about 2.5 hours, and I knit for about, well, almost 2 hours of the outbound journey to London. So this is just a vanilla sock that I'm knitting for Emily. So there's the first sock. I haven't swapped over my lightboard markers onto the new sock yet, so I basically will move this down every 10 rows or so. And here is the sock. Now I have moved on to just 3 DPNs for my socks. It's something that I picked up from Ali of Little Drops of Wonderful. She's moved on to 3 needles because she says it just, if you get any ladders, they're not going to be at the front of the sock, which is going to be the most visible part. It's going to be sort of at the sides or at the back where people aren't really looking. So on the coach, I was about there when I started, so I did that. I did the heel flap, I did the heel turn, and did I do all of that? Yeah, I think I did. What did I do that on the... No, some of it was done in a car journey. Where did we go? I think it was the Global Bird Fire out at Rutland. So Rutland's about a 40-minute drive away. So I think I did the heel flap there. So I did all the gusset decreases anyway. All the gusset decreases were done on the coach. And sort of all of this as well. I'm not the fastest of knitters, I have to confess, but I don't care. It's the enjoyment, not how fast you do it. Although I do wish sometimes that I could knit faster, because then I'd finish things faster and be able to start all the other things that I want to cast on. So the yarn is West Yorkshire Spinners Vintage Tinsel. So it's a spark. There's a lovely sparkle in there. Emily likes a bit of sparkle, and so far I'm actually doing quite well getting them matched. There's a little bit of tension change, I think, on this sock. So I seem to have less of the purple on the bottom of the heel than I do on this one. So I think that means that my gauge is changed between the socks, but my stitches are neater. My stitches are definitely neater looking at the 2 socks. I mean, they're fairly neat anyway, but I don't know if that's going to show because it's so dark. Simon's got these lights set up all wrong, I promise you. He's got them set up there and there, which means whenever I hold anything up to the camera it goes all dark. So yeah, I don't think you're really going to be able to see, but I promise you they do look neater on this foot than this foot. So I hope that means that my knitting is improving. I've just noticed I've left all my needles out of my knitting bag for my hats and cowls. Sort those out in a second. So that's that, and this is, as always, living in my Bellica Yarns bag. I do need to get another bag or 2 of these. I love these, but obviously it would be nice to have some other designs to tote around with me. Maybe swap them out a little bit. I could do with this one, could do with going in the wash, to be honest. Right, so let's get on to crochet now. Start with this one because this one's nearest. And this is living in my York's Chocolate Story canvas tote. And this is a new start that I started as my next project to work on following finishing the Lunar cardigan, because with my crocheted projects, at least, I'm at a stage where I can replace one finished object with a new start. I can't do that with my knitting just yet. That's the aim. So I'm using one of my Crochet Society hooks. This is again, look, it's all dark. 3.75mm hook. This is done in fingering weight yarn, and this is zigzag. I think it was oranges. I think it's just zigzag oranges, or flame. It could be flame. I don't know. And I'm using Drops Fable, which is this colour 115. No colour name for that one, but it's just a grey. And this is what I'm up to. Just trying to work out which way is which. I don't think it really matters. There we are. This is what I'm working on. So this is a Granny Meets Virus shawl, and I'm just going to keep going until I run out. I've got 100 grams of this fingering weight yarn, 100 grams of this one, and I'm just going to keep going until I run out. Hopefully, if I finish on a virus one, I have enough to finish a repeat. But I love how the colours are working up on this. They're not showing on the screen that I'm looking at. They are not showing up anywhere near as bright as they are. The contrast between the orange. See, that's probably a little bit closer. Just holding it back here into the light. I love this. It's obviously Granny Stitch. I know that. The virus pattern. I have done a virus shawl in the past, so it's fairly intuitive. I did need to read the pattern for the first time to remind myself of how it's done, and also it's a free pattern that I downloaded, but it's not. I'll try and link it below. I can't remember the name of the lady that did it, but it's not the only Virus Meets Granny shawl out there. So it's just a case of just whichever one. Obviously I've got ends that I need to work in at some point, but I've really enjoyed working on this. This has just been a couple of evenings work. Obviously as it gets bigger it will take longer to do each repeat, but for now it's very intuitive and it's good TV crochet. Right, so my last crochet project is in this big bucket bag here. This is a bag I bought from Aldi quite a few years ago now. Oh dear, excuse me. And I love this bag. So in here is my Winter Wonderland blanket, and I'm so close to finishing. I think I've got about 2 sections and a border left to do. And I need to sit and write out the sections. So I for my online patterns, instead of printing to save on for the printer and paper, I've been using notebooks. I've got a couple on the go for different things, and it's just great to just write down the pattern, what I'm doing, and then I can just cross off the row as I get to it. So this is a lovely. This is getting quite big now. Now I have almost finished the snowman. This is awesome. So I was here the last time I got this out. So this has had a few days work on it. I can definitely crochet faster than I can knit. But here is the whole blanket. Let's try and take it up. Now, ignore the deliberate mistake made in this section here. I think it's, oh, there it is, just there. I think my count was off, and I didn't realise my count was off until a couple of rows, so I ignored it and just made it work for the rest of the row. But I didn't get the same mistake on the next section of it. I just absolutely love this. I've got some more bauble type rows, and I've got a snowflake row to do, which is another large panel like this. and then I think it's done. So this has been a lot of fun to do. I really enjoy mosaic crochet, and there are a few mosaic crochet patterns out there that I want to do. I have bought one significantly larger than this, so it's building up to it. I think I need to prepare myself. So the yarn I am using is Paint Box yarns. It's just the Simply DK acrylic, and I've got fluff in here as well. There it is. So see, I've got all of the balls left that I've got left in here, and I'm hoping I have enough to do what's left in the pattern. Otherwise I'm going to have to do another order, and I'm trying to avoid doing any yarn orders for now, just because I've got so much yarn in my stash that beyond my subscriptions, when I remember to get them before I've spent all my money, it's a case of just needing to get on with it. And I love this so much. Yeah, no, I need to get on and use my yarn, and then I can start replenishing it with some others. So that's that. So I've done a little bit of amigurumi work, but not much. To be honest, I've not been feeling the pattern that I've been working on. Let me just let's grab it out to show you. I mean, it's cute enough. Sort of there on. Oh, gosh, it's all tangled. So I'm just on the second ear. And this is a Toft pattern book. Edward's Menagerie. I don't know what it is about. I'm just not feeling it, and I don't know if it's just because it's very simple, or maybe maybe it's the yarn. Maybe I don't like the yarn. Although I only have this much left, and I have arms and legs to do still. I'm going to run out of yarn. Perhaps that's why I'm not feeling enthused to get into it and start working on it. What's that? Ooh. Don't know. Getting bits of fluff in my... That's my girls for you. So yeah, I'm not sure. I think it's because I've got so many other, dare I say, more interesting patterns that I could be working on, assuming I have the right yarn and colours for it. So I really don't know. Right, okay, so that's that. So I might as well show you my cross stitch whip, because I actually got it out today to work on. I haven't worked on this for quite some time, and I've just spent the whole afternoon really. So I've been on annual leave this week, and with the weather forecast being what it has been, I decided that we were going to stay in. So we did a few activities this morning, and then I said, right, let's just put a movie on, and I've sat cross stitching all afternoon. So I'm not going to, actually I will take it out of the hoop. It needs tensioning anyway. So this is a Heaven and Earth Designs chart, and it is Amulet and Emmeline, and the artist is Leslie Ann Ivory. So it's a very popular artist. She does a lot of cat type designs. Let's just fold it out. So here she is. So this year I've just been sort of working on this section here. This is, I think I've done about, this is my 16th day of working on it this year. There's the progress that I've made. So I think I've made, I'm past the halfway mark on the page, that's for sure. And I am on a bit of a cross stitch sort of feeling, so I might work on this the next day or so as well. So it'd be really great if I could get this page finished this weekend. I'll have to wait and see, because I mean it's 8:30 in the evening now. I'm about to go pour myself a gin, so we shall have to wait and see. I might not get any more done on this tonight, but certainly tomorrow I'll be able to make some progress. But there's the back. It's not the neatest of backs, but it's not the worst either. It's not the worst back I've ever had. And it's at that point now where you can see almost the full design. So ignore my scribbles, but that's what it's going to say. Obviously, literally, I'm here. So I've just got sort of this bit left to do. So it's with the cross stitch, I have to be in the mood to pick it up. It's always down in my little corner, so that I do try and schedule in cross stitch days, but if I'm not in the mood to do it, I will just pick up whatever knit or crochet project I'm on instead and work on that. So but yeah, so that's all my whips. Just one bit of incoming, and it's old incoming as well. It's last month's subscription from Attic Spin Dye, the Beatrix Potter, A Tale of Mrs. Tittlemouse, and this is an absolutely beautiful colour. Absolutely gorgeous. And as usual, it comes with a little sachet, and I think it came with a coaster, but I think that's in use. They've been coming with these really lovely little canvas coasters with the characters printed on, and they do tend to get snaffled up to be used. I don't know where they all are. I think they're all on the dining table actually. And there's the mini that comes with, and there's usually a tea, but that's gone into the tea box. And you get this lovely card, and then little stitch marker. This one's a little mouse. So I've missed Benjamin Bunny, and unless I send Andy an email and say, have you got one left, just in case. So I might ask if I get time tomorrow. What's my plans for the weekend and upcoming? So oh, it's going to be a busy August actually. So tomorrow we are, Katherine and I are volunteering at an archaeological dig at our local church. There's a local historical society they're looking for evidence of a manor house that is reported in texts from 800 or 900 years ago that used to be there. So they're just doing test pits. So they've done test pits in previous years. So they just do 3 or 4 test pits per year and in different spots. And eventually, hopefully, they'll hit something that will say, oh yes, manor house. And that's tomorrow, although it is forecast to absolutely chuck it down. So whether or not we get there and stay there, I couldn't tell you. But we've also Sunday we're hoping to go somewhere for the day. Again, that will depend on the weather because it's UK at the moment. I know some parts of Europe have had and the US as well have had scorching temperatures, but UK at the moment seems to be constantly under cloud and rain. And the temperatures have been perfect for me. I love these temperatures. I just don't love the rain. I just don't love the rain. Perfect temperatures. I've really enjoyed the dry days where it's been cooler. When we went to London on Monday, it was tolerable, because I mean the London capital city does always feel warmer than other places. So when we left Leicester, the girls were complaining about playing cold, but when we got there it was fine. But we were getting on the coach at 7 a.m, so it's always a little bit chilly first thing in the morning. But upcoming, so in a couple of weeks, I've got brownie camp. So that will be a very tiring weekend. I am hoping to take some knitting or crochet with me to do in any downtime that I may or may not have. Then I've got some time, so Katherine will have her guide camp shortly after that. She's going to the big one, so this is Mega Mix, and there's it's like a festival feel to it, and it's loads and loads of activities for her to do. She's really looking forward to that. Then and then I'm going to go visit my sisters, so that might be the week that I do a podcast. I might do that. Middle of August might be my next podcast, if I have time or energy to do another one. But before then I will, but I'm not anticipating that I'm going to have time to do a 2-weekly one for the foreseeable future. That could change once I've settled into my new role at work. Certainly I hope that I'll be able to have some sort of energy come Friday evening so that I can sit and do this. But it's also down to time getting set up. So Simon has this really professional setup for me. I don't feel I need this much of a professional setup, but for me it's definitely all the gear, no idea, because I haven't got a clue how any of it works. That's all Simon, but it takes a good 20 minutes. So today took 20 minutes to set up the camera and the lights and everything and all the other bits and bobs that he's got. So it can be quite frustrating. I was always happy just on my phone really, but Simon's a perfectionist when it comes to these things. He loves his photography, and this is just an extension of that. I would like to mention he does have a channel of his own called, I think it's still called The Shed Robins, where he's keen bird watcher, and we have a little bird feeding station in the garden, so he'll regularly take video and stills of the birds that come to visit our garden, things that are happening in our garden. This all stems from last year when we had some robins nesting in our shed, so he set up a camera to film the eggs hatch. Unfortunately none of the babies made it, but he does post fairly regular, just little videos of what's going on in the garden, what birds have visited us and things like that. So if that's something that interests you, go over and have a look. Share the love. Tell him I sent you. He'll love that. So I better get going because it is now 8:40 in the evening, and I know Simon will want to come down and sit and watch some TV. So don't forget to like this video, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and I look forward to seeing all of your pictures for the blanket along. Like I said, whips welcome. You don't have to have a new start. It doesn't have to be finished, as long as you've made some progress from when you picked it up and now and at the end of September. So I'm giving you a nice long time to get it done. So I will see you all again shortly, and I hope I've not bored you too much. Take care everyone. Goodbye.